todos, bienvenidos a otro segmento de Latinx Chats. Mi nombre es Jenny y el día de hoy vamos a tener a dos personitas que crearon un podcast juntos, dos amigos, así que estoy súper emocionada para compartirles el día de hoy su historia de ellos, así que súper contenta de agregarlos por acá. Así que gracias a todos por conectarse el día de hoy. Thank you everyone for the support. Today's segment is going to be about two folks who started their own podcast, two best friends, and so I look forward to sharing their story with you all. So here we go. So let me include them on here and get this going. Thank you everyone for connecting. Jose!
Hello!
Hola, hola.
Bien, hola, ¿cómo estás? We're waiting on Cesar.
Ay, César. Ya lo veo aquí.
Ya, qué bueno.
¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Súper bien. Contenta.
What?
Hola, César.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? How are you doing?
I literally just got out of the shower.
Nice. Well, I'm
Good, you need
so
it.
excited. What's that?
I said good because he needs it.
Yeah.
Pues chicos, thank you so much for wanting to do this live and share your story as far as how you guys went about doing your podcast. I really look forward to sharing your story with our communities, and hopefully people can get inspired to follow your paths and to listen to your podcast, because it's amazing. You guys do a lot of really cool stuff by the content that you provide and that you create. So I really look forward to sharing. So why don't we just kind of dive into it? You guys feeling good?
You.
¿Todo bien?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, bien.
Yay, awesome. Pues primero que nada, Jose and Cesar. Who is Jose and who's Cesar? If you guys don't mind just kind of sharing, and we'll tag team. So whoever wants to start. Okay, so Jose. So can you tell us a little bit about kind of who you are, where you're from, where's your familia from, and kind of that?
Dale. Jose, start. No, my name is Jose Quintero, first generation student here. Well, student, I guess first generation in general.
This isn't a Fullerton ad, dude.
Bro. Okay, cool. My name is Jose Quintero. I'm first gen. My parents are from Michoacan. I grew up in the Inland Empire, so Southern California and Fontana. That's where I went to school. Then I went to Cal State San Bernardino, and I ended up somehow in radio and in the entertainment industry. So that's what I do right now. I'm a morning show radio host and producer. So aquí andamos echándole ganas.
Súper, qué bien. ¿Y tú, César? Who is César?
Hey, before we move on, you forgot you went to Laverne for your MBA.
Oh, yeah, I have my master's. I didn't want to mention it because it cost me a lot. Just kidding. I have my master's in marketing. So both my bachelor's and my master's are in business marketing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
There you go.
Yeah.
So for me, I was born and raised in Huntington Park. I am the eldest of three. Family decided to move to the IE, to Redlands, and that's where I ended up going to college to stay local at Cal State San Bernardino. That's where Jose and I met. And then once I graduated with my accounting degree, got my CPA, started working for a Fortune 300 company in Long Beach. So made my way out to the east side or the west side. And Jose was out here too, and that's how we started the podcast. But then I decided to also go for my MBA at Long Beach State, and now working as a director of finance and full-time podcasters, part-time finance director.
Yeah.
Nice. Look at you guys. You guys got the whole full package.
Well, we try to do a little bit of everything.
Nice. Yeah. And so let's kind of dive into a little bit of how it was growing up as Latinos, right? Latino males in California and specifically in your area. So like, how was that for you guys in particular?
Cesar?
Well, for me, growing up in Huntington Park felt like home. It felt like little Mexico. Like if anyone that's from LA has to know La Pacific because it's where people would, go and celebrate after the Mexican soccer team would win, the Lakers would win the championship, the Dodgers would win, and where most women probably bought their quinceañera dresses. So so Huntington Park was really nice, like home. Then when I went to Redlands, it was a whole 180.
Mm,
Completely all white people, not even like middle class and upper class. So found myself struggling a little bit to fit in initially, but then I adapted, and I think that ended up benefiting me to kind of change my mindset, to understand other cultures, not just the Mexican and Latino culture, but how to adapt, how to pivot, and how to learn from other people. So yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for sharing it. For you, Jose?
Yeah, so I guess for me, I mean, Fontana is como un ranchito, so I did kind of grow up seeing a lot of horses. We had chickens
Nice.
in the back. I could say I was a sheltered kid to a certain extent because mis papás no me dejaban salir a ningún lado. And so it was basically just growing up with me, my brothers, and my family. Like, that's literally who my friends were. Obviously, as I started growing older, like, high school, I would go out here and there, but not really just because I had, or I still have strict parents.
Mm-hmm.
Pero pues sí, I kind of felt identified with my community because we are mainly Latinx y
Mm-hmm.
primordial Mexicanos. But it was still interesting just because I would always go to Mexico every summer. So I was never Mexican enough for the Mexicans. And I was too Mexican for the Mexicans here in SoCal.
Oh,
So it was really hard to kind of fit in. But I ended up finding my own like little niche as I started growing older and then kind of going into this whole I don't give a flip mentality.
gotcha. Yeah, I feel like I at one point I also kind of faced that whole struggle of anytime I would visit Mexico, it was kind of like, ah, ya viene la gringa, no? And
Mm,
like kind of that mentality. And then like coming back, it was kind of like, oh, you're too Mexican, or you're too into kind of like your culture and whatnot. So it was this like battling back and forth, right? Like I'm sure a lot of Latinx folks tend to relate to that. It's definitely something that we tend to struggle at times. Como ni de aquí ni de allá, ¿no?
sí, ni de aquí. It's funny because that's the very first episode that me and Caesar released, ni de aquí ni de allá.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll dive into a little bit of that a little later. But so, what would be kind of that one thing that you guys absolutely love about our Mexican culture in
Mm.
particular?
The food. I
The
love the
food.
food. The food.
What
Um,
what in particular?
I love tamales. I could say,
What?
yes, tamales or arroz con
Ah.
frijoles, even though that sounds so basic. Once you move out from your parents' house, you miss like your mom's cooking. And my mom makes some bomb ass arroz con frijoles, even though that's basic. But I love the food. I can say the culture, but I feel like every culture has their uniqueness and pride to it. And every culture in its own
Mhm.
way is beautiful. So I can't say like, hey, that's what I love the most because un colombiano dice lo mismo. And I've been to Colombia. Their culture is freaking amazing too. So I have pride in my culture, pero pues una cosa que sí me encanta es la comida.
Yeah, good choice. ¿Y
Yeah,
tú, César?
a mí la gente, just
Uf,
like
Okay.
the ambiance, like el ambiente que traen, siempre andan de
Yeah.
albireo, llevándose. So that for me is like home. Like that's where I like talking crappy. I know nos llevamos, and then obviously,
La carrilla.
the food, la carrilla. There you go. The food. I love my beans con un queso fresco, and then enchiladas on the side. Can't go wrong with that.
bro, uno con hambre.
Nice.
Sí, güey, pero tú no puedes comer, güey, porque you need to take your shirt off.
Ever so often, it's okay. I will have those foods later on in life.
You're very strict with your diet, Jose?
Right now I am. Right now I am because I
Mm.
have certain aesthetic looks that I'm trying to go for, and then from there,
Ah,
uh, then from there, I'm trying to be on the cover of a magazine. So if anybody's listening here and wants to do a photo shoot, super down, because that's the goal. That's why I started working out. Eventually, Men's Health, that would be the goal. Pero ahorita el que sea, para que yo pueda volver a comer.
Yeah, te van a poner
Wow.
en el clasificado, dude. En el clasificado or penny saver.
If it's in the back, I'd be down for the penny saver.
Wow, look at you. That's awesome. And so let's talk a little bit about kind of like what your guys' experience was throughout college, right? Because I feel like for a lot of Latinos, we tend to kind of struggle with the similar issues. And so I know you both kind of did you guys all go to the same undergrad? I think that's what I recall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was kind of your experience of Latinos going and navigating these spaces? Like what was kind of some difficult times that you guys maybe faced that you guys can share with the community? And then we'll definitely tap into more of the podcast, your amazing podcast. So, but I thought I'd kind of give some sort of context of like what your journey was in regards to your education first.
Okay, Cesar. Yo?
Vamos.
Okay. I was like, hey, yo. I think for me, the hardest thing was applying. Like I was the first one in my family, like my immediate family, to go to college. I had older cousins who went through college or at work at college at the time. Even though I can rely on them to help me out, it was still not like having somebody there immediate that can help me walk me through the whole process. So I had to navigate that on my own, figuring out what scholarships were. If I didn't have like my Spanish teacher at the time, I wouldn't have received the scholarship that I got when I went into college. So there was a lot of first time for me and for many of our community who are first gen. Obviously driving to school, like we don't grow up and like, oh, at 16 we're gonna get you your permit and we're gonna so you can be driving by the time you're in college. I'm an October baby, so 18 was in October. I had to start college with my mom driving me to college because she's like, no, you're getting your permit, but you're not getting your license until you turned 18. And I was just like, damn. So it was a little embarrassing. Now it's like moments that I cherish, that I'm like, haha, you used to drive me, wake up. Y ahora ya ni se levanta. But I mean, just being in college, it was like I mean, for me, you were indoctrinated into just going to school, going to get good grades. And that's all I thought there was until I started becoming more involved. And that didn't happen until like my second year in college, where I was like, oh my God, there's a whole social aspect to college that I didn't know and I wanted to explore. So that's when I became like the black sheep of the family.
Nice, look at you. Yeah. And what about you, Cesar? How was it for you?
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. I mean, it's been a while, but no, I think very similar, right? Where we don't know how to apply to college, when the deadlines are. I know I had a very sudden deadline where I had oh shoot, I need to apply for college now, and I didn't even apply to any UCs because I was too lazy to write whatever that personal statement was. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go to UC, so I'm not going to write that. But hindsight 2020, I would have probably gotten into another school, not that CSUSP wasn't a good school, but also I couldn't afford to move out. So my dream school was Cal State Long Beach, which I got accepted to as an undergrad, but I couldn't afford to move out. So I stayed at Cal State San Bernardino, and made the most out of it. I mean, I don't think many people know, but I took remedial math and remedial English in my first semester or quarter because of the exams. I didn't prep for no SAT, no ACT, and thank God they're removing those now. But I was taking remedial classes, which kind of held me back a few quarters and semesters. Nonetheless, right, here we are, successful in doing our own thing. So those exams are really not a true measurement of how smart or you are, or a true representation of where you are in society. So I'm glad those are being removed. But once I got past that, my goal was just to continue to get involved on campus, whether I was too dumb, too arrogant, just didn't know any better. My goal was just to get involved on campus, network, get to know as many people, and make those connections. But I just took advantage of all of that and put myself anywhere and everywhere on campus.
That's awesome. And would you guys say that Cal State San Bernardino was somewhat like, did it allow you to kind of embrace your Latinx culture in a sense, or did you guys feel like you guys kind of had to hide that somewhat?
That's interesting. I mean, Cal State San Bernardino is a Hispanic serving institution, so it's mainly like Latinx folks, even the staff. I mean, within the staff, there is representation in the Latinx community, not necessarily the, oh my God, the professors.
Professors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the staff was cool because you get to talk to them about your upbringings and then they share theirs, and it's very similar, very homey, very Mexican rooted. The professors, it was a totally, like, there was some disconnect. Like, you and I live totally different lives. Sometimes when you try to ask for extensions or deadlines because you have family emergencies, or because, like, oh no, your immediate family only, like your mom, your dad, your siblings, but you don't understand. I've lived with my aunt my entire life, and she's like a second mom, like, todavía está ese cariño. So there was definitely some disconnect with the professors. But nonetheless, like, you find one or two professors that are representing the Latinx community, and they're heavily involved. I know I sought them out, and they were mainly in the Spanish department. But you seek them out, you ask for advice, and then little by little, pues ahí echándole ganas.
Claro. And for you,
Yeah,
Cesar?
no, yeah, I agree. I think obviously representation matters anywhere and everywhere. And for me, I felt comfortable with one advisor, Ed. If I'm not
Ed.
sure, Jose. Yeah,
Yeah.
he would always, go above and beyond to help and be like, "Hey, man, I forgot that the deadline to register for this class was this day. Can you help me out?" And again, it's part of not knowing the process,
Yeah.
or saying, "Oh, it's a certain time that you need to do this," or, "Hey, you know what you can do? You can go into the class and maybe they can add you that same day." So things that we didn't know that he facilitated, and that's just who I felt more comfortable with. So yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us Latinx folks as first generation, we tend to struggle with a lot of these similar issues, right? Like, and the representation and being able to find that kind of like mentor or guide to be like, hey, can you please help me? Like, you may understand my situation or my story, you know? And once you find them, it's kind of like, you're my best friend now.
Yeah.
I won't let go, Jack. I
So
won't
it's,
let go. And then you graduate.
yeah.
You let go.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to talk about kind of, so what was that life after graduation, right? So you guys graduate and you tap into kind of the professional world, right? And for Jose, you did masters, right? And Cesar, did you happen to go after, or I know you did the finances, like CPA kind of realm, right?
Yeah, right after college, I actually had zero offers from any CPA firms. But I did have
Mm,
offers for other jobs because I was still undecided if I wanted to continue the accounting route, or I was very involved with student development or pursue a master's in student development and kind of gear my way towards that. So my first job out of college was working at an aftercare program for foster kids. So
mm,
I don't remember exactly the assembly bills anymore. I used to have them memorized, but they were for kids between the ages of 18 to 21 who were
mm.
post foster care system. And when the system, when you hit 18, the system just kind of leaves you out there and says, "Hey, here you go into the world." But some of these kids have never been prepared. Some of them don't even have their driver's license. They don't even know who has their social security, some of the documentation. So we were providing a lot of guidance, and I feel like I really liked that job. It was very emotionally draining at some point, right? But I something just hit me that I'm like, hey, I kind of either need to go for my master's in social work to move up, or I need to go and practice accounting like I did in college. So, I always want, I never leave things to what if. So I'm like, let me go try it out. Let's go do accounting. And was really
Mm-hmm.
good at it, and then decided to pursue my CPA within, I achieved it 4 years after I graduated, kind of lagged it a little bit. And then, yeah, I went to go do my MBA in 2018 and just finished it in August 2020. So last year, less than a year ago.
Nice. That's awesome. And for you, Jose, so I know you did masters in marketing, correct?
So I think because I grew up just knowing school, I thought I was going to semester off, and I did take a semester off, but I was like, I needed to jump back right on. So I ended up getting a job like similar to Cesar. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to major in business, but I thought I wanted to do like student development, just because being the first to do something, especially like entertaining, in being in the entertainment industry, it's so uncertain. You don't have anybody, and then you just hear that it's really hard to get into. It's very rigorous. It's very time consuming, and you have to be the right person. So I made it a backup plan. I started working for a nonprofit organization, which was part of the university, Gear Up, and I started working with kids as a mentor and academic counselor. Just like Caesar, it's mentally draining and kind of sad at times because the system just sees kids as numbers, and you're just like, I want to help you out, but there's 800 of you that they assign to. You're just like, how do I keep track? Oh, did you just go?
Cesar,
Quiero dar miedo. Tengo miedo.
¿qué está pasando?
That was the first set. It's the first time, and I'm like messing around with it.
So then I pursued my master's at the University of Laverne, and I graduated January 2017 with my master's, and it was that same year that I gave Univision one more try because I had been volunteering for them already for 2 years while I was doing my master's, not getting paid, driving from the Inland Empire to Los Angeles, putting in my time and networking more than anything. Then in June of 2017, I landed my first job as a public relations coordinator. And then within months, I was able to move up to junior producer of Maria Argelia. And then years later, now I'm, hosting a morning show and producing a morning show con Angelica Vales. So it's just been like, as soon as I was able to hit my dream, things just like propelled times 100. And just like Cesar, I've never been a what if type of guy. So I always try to be like, all right, let's do it. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that you guys seriously are really successful in both of your guys' kind of careers. And as you guys share, I mean, it's definitely a process. It's definitely a path. It's not always so clear in regards to knowing like, por aquí está el camino, right? Like you kind of just have to, in a sense, figure it out, and time will kind of tell, and you'll eventually will figure out kind of what's your calling in a sense. But it's really cool that aside from what you guys do 9 to 5, to say it kind of in that term, you guys are also able to tap into this really cool idea of having your podcast. So let's kind of dive into that. So how was kind of that whole process of starting a podcast together as friends, and how did that whole kind of like idea just spark?
Jose loves to tell the story.
Yo ya cuento esta historia todo el
Salud Podcast.
Salud. Yeah, it was just a lot of drunk texts to Jose.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, hey, I just have a drunk idea. Like, if we start a podcast, dude, we start talking about X, Y, and Z and just have insights on different things. And first time he shut me down, he left me on red. And then eventually the pandemic hit, and I think he might have been bored. And then he's like, all right, I guess I'll pay attention to you, and let's go ahead and do it. Let's start it. What do we do? And we started doing our research, got together. I remember we went on a workout to try to see, just work out the chemistry, and sat down and talked crap for like an hour trying to figure out what would we name it, what would be the basis of it, and it was just like really just hanging out and talking crap. And now here we are. Initially it started, I don't want to say it started off as a joke, but we started more as jokesters, and now it's gotten more serious, but in a sense where we can still have fun with it, because some of these conversations are very serious, very taboo, and things that people need to talk about. But we try to give a little bit of fun and personality to it, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jose.
I was like Caesar said, it literally started off, we were going to talk about pendejada y media, and like, oh, bro, let's just crack jokes on each other. Let's just do this. Let's just do that. And as we started coming up with like names, and we're like, all right, we need a way to have a conversation for like 30, 40 minutes. So I don't know. We just came up with like, okay, well, let's talk about our experiences as Latinos and being from Mexico and growing up in Mexico and then growing up here, et cetera, et cetera. But then so we started the episode with the intention of like, we're going to just talk about stupid stuff, but it ended up being a deep conversation about the issues that we've had as men in the Latinx community. And then from there, it's like, oh, okay, we like this angle, and we're learning a lot about ourselves, and more than anything, giving ourselves self-therapy.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you guys, because I'm also a podcaster, so I have heard some of your guys' episodes. And honestly, to kind of open yourself up in that manner and sometimes share your own personal stories as a Latino male sometimes can be a little bit kind of daunting in a sense, because it's not so commonly seen in our culture. So have you guys had kind of like maybe a situation where you felt like, man, this that we're talking about is very therapeutical to me and this way, and has that kind of moment happen pretty often for you guys?
I think for me personally, it has. It literally, because as soon as we had I think it was like our third or fourth episode, which we have like a series now called Dicen que los hombres no deben llorar. I think this was the very first time that, like, aside from, having conversations with my friends about like, feeling a type of way as a man, and then just sharing it publicly and with somebody that wasn't like, Caesar was always in my inner circle, but I wouldn't see him as often or text him as often as we do now and see each other as often, because we're so involved in what we want to do with the podcast. But it was just like, okay, aside from like my closest friends, here's another person that's going to hear my story. And then I hear his examples as a man. It was like, there's more of us out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and what would be, for those that maybe haven't had a chance to tap into and listen to your podcast, what are some of the topics that you guys kind of talk about? Because they are very taboo. And so what are some that possibly you guys can share that you guys have addressed for folks that haven't yet heard your podcast?
Cesar.
You name three and I name three.
Okay, I'll name my top three. Definitely. Oh my God. Religion, which is Nochebuena, religion within the Latinx community, but also male rape. So we talk about that statistics. We talk about, let me see, I'm trying to think. Dicen hasta que la muerte no, it's not hasta que la muerte nos separe. Mi último deseo, which is one of my favorite episodes, which basically it's like, do we as Latinos, since we're so close with our parents, do we talk with our parents about death? And I had a conversation, and it's in the podcast, with my parents, like, hey, how would you like to be honored when you pass or when you die? So then they illustrate it and detail it for me, and it's in the podcast, so if I ever need to go back to it. And then I also let them know, like, I also turn it on them and it say, what if it were to happen to me first? How would you react? And then I let them know, this is how I would like to be remembered, and this is how I would like to be celebrated. So at least it's already documented. And like I told Caesar before, to me, it's a memoir as well, as like, this is our lives as two men having conversations with somebody else, and at the same time sharing our stories and experiences. Yeah.
And for you, Cesar, what would be kind of like your top episodes that you can think of that you want to share?
Yeah, I think for me, for sure, the Dicen que los hombres no deben llorar series. That one, we're part 3 for this season, and that's going to be a great one. We have a great guest on that one. Should be coming out in 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And the other one, Pay Me What I'm Worth Because I'm Worth It, where we have women on the podcast, women in different industries, whether it's finance, women in higher education, in STEM, just talking about some of the adversity that they face in the
Mm-hmm.
workforce, with being either in management or as an employee, and just some of the microaggressions that they see from some people. And
Mm-hmm.
how do we break that? How do we become allies to help women in that sense? And then the other one would probably be the one that we had with our moms not that long ago, two weeks ago, where we
Aw.
sat down with their moms and interviewed them for Dia de las Madres, and just asked them
Wow.
like about their story migrating here. What do they wish they would have done different if they would have had the same opportunities we have?
Yeah.
And as far as their profession, what they would have on a be. So those are all fun, but I mean, there's a lot of them. There's about representation within the TV industry and films. Like you said, we talk about death and all the stories that we grew up with, the chupacabras.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
and even
real.
Yeah. I'd like
and
to, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
and then the one of the biggest ones that we've had is how we started season two. You know, with
Mm-hmm.
talk about machismo, and we bring
Mm-hmm.
in a Ricardo who's has a men's circle, Voices of Brotherhood, Instagram page, and he talks about all the different ways that we are machistas and it's engraved in us that we don't even realize it. So super
Mm-hmm.
deep conversations.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
would like to reiterate like the whole with our moms. I think that episode one of my favorites as well because we get to talk to the woman that raised us, not our moms. We talk to the woman that raised us, and we get to dive deep in like for instance my mom and her dealing with depression and also being cheated on, and it's
Mm-hmm.
topics that normally I wouldn't bring up, but in the sense of being transparent and creating a normalcy. That way, we as Latinx talk about these things with our parents.
Mm-hmm.
We decide to take those risks and do them ourselves.
Wow, that's so empowering. That's awesome that you guys did that and gave that focus in a sense of like, let's share our mom stories, right? And what they got to say and implement that into your podcast. Because at the end of the day, and I think this is the reason why I also create these kinds of lives, is because I feel like not a lot of the times we're able to share our personal stories, right? And like
Mhm.
how we go about
Yeah.
going through life, right? And what's been our journey, what's been our process for people to know what that looks like, right? And so there's so many folks and people that can relate to that in a sense, and also knowing kind of that there are other folks that are pretty much going through similar things like we are, and that we're all in this together. And so highlighting these kinds of stories are awesome. So that's amazing, and I definitely will be checking that episode out for sure.
Yeah, let us know. Give us a
Yeah, for sure. And so what's kind of like the next goals for Salud Podcast? Like what are you guys envisioning? What's kind of the plan with that? What you guys got going?
Mm. Where are we going? Where are we going, Caesar?
Where are we going? We are going to the moon like Doge, first of
Dogecoin.
all.
I'm down.
um,
Salud to that.
Hold up.
Yeah, no, the goal is first and foremost, I think, for this season is to make sure that we meet our promise of giving out a scholarship. And
Mm,
so we're coming out with merchandise and gear and probably not revamping, but bringing back that Pay Me What I Worth sweater, which was very popular. And so all these funds are going for a scholarship fund that will be granted in the fall. We want to start season three strong. We want to reach at least 1,000 followers on Instagram by the end of season two. We want to do, a lot of different numbers and subscriptions, right? And so we just want to pay it forward. Really, we want to have on guests, and all of our guests have been amazing. But continue to have this conversation with not just um, people who are popular or who are big on Instagram, but just real people who have raw stories that are relatable. And how can we echo that? Because at one point or another, we all related to that story and we all can still probably relate to it. So it's just something, a space for all of us, especially the Latinos. So
Yeah. I mean, just to echo on what Caesar said, definitely like the reason why, or like within the first couple of episodes in the podcast, we both agreed that we have to pay it forward. We're both successful in our own ways. We both want to see other Latinx succeed, and we both want to keep our promise to, you know, give scholarships. And if this turns into a business, great. We definitely need help. We definitely want to hire an intern. Definitely eventually want to hire somebody if we can full time. But we can definitely see this as, you know, different venues to talk about salud, mental health, salud, fitness, salud, you know, just in different arrays. Drinking, like we could literally, I've already told Caesar about it, like I would love to do a pub crawl and have Salud pub crawl, Salud podcast pub crawl, you know.
Yeah.
So there's so many things. I think we're both creative people, and we each bring different things to the table. Like sometimes I'll have an idea and Caesar's like, okay, but how much does it cost? And I'm like, well, shoot, you're the numbers guy. And then it's like, no, we can't. So it's like our checks and balances, but we definitely want to just keep sharing and elevating our stories, not just ours, but our communities. So that's also, you know, our responsibility to keep on sharing it, but that's why we always encourage other people to also keep on passing the story, because our story and some of these people's stories that we highlight and share can be used as testimonials and may, I don't know, save lives, or because we've already had messages like, wow, like that changed me. And it feels really good to read that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's super empowering. That's so awesome. Keep what you're doing, guys. Keep doing what you're doing. This is great. And in regards to your guys' interest in implementing this scholarship and offering it, what exactly is it that will be, or what does that all entail? So like the scholarship itself, is it catered to one specific group of students? Is it college students? Is it high school students? So kind of, have you guys talked about a little bit of those details yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's in the works right now. It's something that we're working with someone who is in higher education to kind of draft that. But yeah, ideally it'd be to a college student, first generation, and that's as far as we have it right now, right? But that's a big opportunity for anyone out there. So
yeah, I think the other thing that we talked about was how much and who's going to get the scholarship. So like if a man gets a scholarship versus a woman gets a scholarship, we obviously want to, you know, do our part in this whole the Latina pay gap and then the equal pay. So we did say that because Latinos make 37 cents more than Latina women, we do want to acknowledge that and have the scholarship for women be of 1,370 versus a man's scholarship, which will be 1,000. So we want to definitely, you know, highlight those discrepancies. And maybe people are going to be asking like, well, why does she get more? Well, let's start having that conversation, and let me tell you why.
Yeah. Wow. And then would it just be one recipient or like one person, or
Dude, if we
for
could
now?
do 20, 30, 50, it would be amazing. But for now.
Got it. Well, you guys are doing amazing. That's really, really awesome to always just kind of look out for our folks, right? And help in whatever way possible. Because as we all know, like college, if that's the path that our folks are choosing to go, or if it's not college, right? Like how can we help that process, right? And what could we do? Because we know we went through it and we know how hard it could be. So that's awesome that you guys are essentially looking for things to give back to our community. So that's great. Like you guys keep doing what you're doing. I know that you guys will go far.
Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, salud.
And soon to come fitness boot camps that I'll be charging $5 donations. So to raise for the scholarships.
Nice.
Will
And
you be shirtless
in, like,
though?
LA area, right?
If it gets us more donations and tips, I will.
Shirtless.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Pues chicos, it's time for a game. So So I love implementing this idea of getting to know you guys kind of at a deeper level and in a fun way. So vamos a jugar un juego que se llama Completa la frase or fill in the blank, right?
Yeah.
So are you guys ready?
Yeah, Caesar goes first.
Caesar, ready?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. All right, Caesar. So here we go. What's your favorite novela?
Luz Clarita.
Who was the actress, if it's your favorite novela?
Oh, I don't even know. I just know that she's famous, isn't she?
Lucero. Who?
No way.
I'm pretty sure it's Lucero.
No,
That's probably
no
who-
way. No way.
If somebody can confirm Luz Clarita was Lucero,
María del Barrio.
that's Talia. What's up?
Talia, yeah. Nice.
Alegrijes y rebujos.
Oh
That's-
my God, mine.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah, that's Diego Boneta as one of the stars.
What?
Yeah.
Keep them coming, fool. Keep them coming. I wanted to be an
Yeah.
actor. I studied my shit.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Jose knows it all. He's in the media world, of course. He knows.
Yeah, he has to.
What about you, Jose? What's your favorite?
My favorite novela, I would have to say,
Dos mujeres un camino.
no, Araceli Arambula. Even though it is, my favorite one is with Araceli Arambula. It's Abrázame Muy Fuerte
Ooh,
with her and Fernando Colunga.
Nice.
Huh.
Yeah. That's a good one. Good
You
classic
know, with the
one.
song with Juan Gabriel.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hear it. So, what is your favorite music to dance to?
Banda.
Perreo.
Banda. Okay. Banda, always banda.
Banda, I mean, it's my go-to. That doesn't mean I'm
Okay.
not open to other genres, but my go-to is like if I hear like, I don't know, some tamborazo or zapateo, I'm like going to the dance floor. Like I don't care with who.
Nice. ¿Y tú, César?
Choque.
Choque. Oh,
¿Qué?
it's a dirty ass perreo. I'm just kidding. I think they
Okay.
No,
make
no,
Jamaican,
yeah. Mexican music. Mexican music de todo. Banda, norteño, cumbias, Los Ángeles Azules. Some freaking, I'll
Nice.
even dance to los bookies.
Why not?
Nice. Good choice. Good choice. A ver, your favorite dicho from your mom.
Hay comida en la casa. Because it's
Nice.
true.
Nunca falla.
Yeah.
¿Tú, César? What's that phrase that your
I
mom
don't
would
know. I don't know. Vas a ver, hijo de la chingada. Maybe.
Yeah.
say? That never fails, right?
It never fails, yeah.
Nice. That was good. That was good. Okay, so let's see. What is your favorite soccer team?
Like,
LAFC.
Which one?
okay.
LAFC.
I was
Los
gonna
Angeles
say,
Football
like-
Club. The
Yeah, I
only
was gonna
club
be
in LA.
like US, like Mexico, Euro, like what? Because if
I mean,
we're going
I
for like
mean-
Chivas, but yes,
Yes.
LAFC in LA, Chivas here, and then Barca in, España, la madre patria.
got it. Dude, I like that. I think I go for those as well. My parents are from Guadalajara, so
Arriba.
of course I must go for Chivas. But anytime I see like a World Cup game, whatever it may be, always Mexico. I mean, you have to in a sense.
Yeah.
I agree.
Nice. Okay, a ver, ¿qué prefieren? So do you guys prefer bachata, bailar bachata o reggaeton?
Bachata. Back in the days. Yeah.
Bachata. Why?
Damn, I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I practice it when I'm
Hey,
working out.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
like,
used to teach it.
that's it. Yeah, Caesar's a really good dancer,
Oh,
FYI.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Cesar, you need to get some workshops going.
Bro, oh my God, that's a payment idea. Teach bachata. I'm going to hold this fool accountable now. Prende tu salud con el César y bachata.
Nice.
Oh,
¿Y
hell
tú,
no.
Jose?
I think I would prefer to dance bachata, pero creo que me sale el reggaetón mejor. Because I feel like ahí
Okay.
hacen lo que se te dé la gana.
Because you just lean on the wall or the pole.
Yeah, but I'd be more down and willing to dance bachata. I just definitely need class.
Nice, okay. A ver, y como su podcast es de, pues, como salud y toda esta onda, what do you guys prefer? Like, what's your go-to drink?
MD 2020.
Hell no. The hell?
Purple one.
Hell no. Ugh, disgusting. Mezcal.
Mezcal. Okay. Nice. Good choices. Good choices.
Mezcal.
Well, nice. And one last one. What do you guys prefer? Tacos o tamales?
Oh, tacos. Dude, la
What
masa
kinds of
de los
tacos? What
tamales,
kinds of
that's too
tacos?
much, man. La masa de los tamales is way too much. Like,
I
that shit's too heavy. Like, I can do one or two, but like, tacos all day.
love tamales, but tacos, and especially si la tortilla es a mano. Like,
Y de chorizo.
Oof.
oh,
Y de
Yeah.
chorizo sin tortilla.
sin tortilla for this one.
Pero ¿qué tipo de tacos? A ver.
Al pastor, pollo, cabeza, lengua, ojo.
De todo.
Tú ponle taco, un taco de ojo también me echo.
Nice, nice. I like that. ¿Y tú, César, qué tipo de tacos?
Tacos al pastor, my favorite one.
Oh,
It's like the
okay.
taco about it ones.
Yeah, you know the ones that you dip in that little juice?
Oh, de birria?
Birria, what's it called? Birria,
¿Queso taco?
queso. Yeah, I guess queso
Con que
taco
tenga
with the birria.
taco. Yeah.
A ver, una última. This might be a tough one. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer LA or San Diego to hang out at or to live at? I mean, you guys are both kind of in the LA area, but I think there's always this rivalry between like SoCal and like kind of, I don't know, LA
SoCal,
area.
NorCal.
To live at. Well, depends what part of LA and depends what part of San Diego. Am I by the beach?
Am I by the beaches, boo?
Is the question?
Yeah. What about if it were to be by the beach?
Yeah, LA. I think I do LA.
I
Okay.
would definitely
Just the
do LA.
vibes are much better, yeah. There's
Yeah,
so much
I
more
would
to
do
do,
LA.
more vibes, and
I would love to be, like have Mexico a lot closer. Así puedo ir a viajar a México ahí en Tijuana. Los boletos super cheap. But LA.
Really? You guys don't get tired of your traffic there? It's crazy.
Have you been to San Diego lately? I haven't. I'm asking.
No, I think the last time I went was probably, it's been some time.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I hear the traffic is kind of iffy now.
But, it gives you the opportunity now that there's podcasts to just kind of dive in and listen and, go for a spin. So I used to hate traffic, but now I find ways to entertain myself and continuously learn through podcasts, books, audiobooks, etc. Or study.
And on that, Jose, so what do you guys kind of use your podcast? When do you guys kind of listen to it? Like you can really listen to a podcast in all kinds of ways, but what's kind of your go-to for you guys?
Pues el sucio no lo escucha en el carro. Where do you listen, fool? Cuando estás en el trono.
No, our podcast?
No, just in general, podcast.
In general.
Oh, in general. Yeah, from the moment I wake up, I'll put the podcast on, go to the restroom, do my thing. Then as I'm about to go work out, then I'll work out. I won't listen to them while I'm working out because I need to pay attention. Once I'm done working out, then I'll start listening again, go on a walk while I'm in the shower, while I'm driving. Literally any time that I'm not doing anything that requires my full attention to something that's just, regular routine, I'll listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
So I listen to probably at least 3 hours of podcast content a day.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not to brag.
That's good. I only do an hour and a half. So not a lot.
Only our podcast. Got it.
Half of another one that I finish the next day.
Nice. That's good. That's definitely good ideas for folks that are trying to maybe start listening to podcasts. And of course, your podcast, Salud Podcast, right? But yeah, those are really good ideas to get people kind of starting to think about like, okay, if I want to dive into that, well, what would that look like, right? For kind of their whole day and how to implement that into their agenda. So yeah, I definitely agree. Those are really good pointers. So last but not least, what would be kind of that advice that you guys would give first to our Latinx folks that's kind of worked for you guys throughout your life, your career, and also for those folks that possibly are wanting to start a podcast? Like, what would be that advice for those folks? So I don't know who wants to tackle what.
I'll say, and I'll make it quick on my end. We have a saying in the podcast, generational growth. Somos una comunidad que no nos rajamos. Entonces, if you have something in mind, no te rajes y hazlo.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned that from our parents. Like, they came here with nothing, no se rajaron, ahora échale ganas, mijo, no te rajes.
Sí, echarle ganas a la vida porque se va corriendo and we must keep it going. Pues gracias, chicos. La verdad que I really enjoyed our time today. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for sharing all that Salud Podcast is all about. And please, guys, check them out. Where can people find your podcast?
Cesar.
Hey, you're the one on the page. You're the one on the page.
Oh, well, find us at this page, at Salud Podcast, on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcast, anywhere you see or, you listen to podcasts. Ahí estamos. Make sure to follow our page on Instagram that I'm currently on, because we definitely give out a lot of things on there. So, yeah, like concert tickets, we'll give out games. So just check it out.
Well, thank you guys so much again for this collaboration, for sharing your story. Please give these guys support, show them love, go listen to their podcast. It's literally amazing. You guys won't regret it. It's honestly a lot of information, like you guys mentioned, that it's a lot of topics that are taboo that need to be talked about. And I'm sure you guys will learn one thing or another, right? So thank you guys again. Gracias por el tiempo, por compartir su historia, and too much more success.
Gracias. Salud.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Salud. Gracias, chicos. Cuídense
Thank
mucho.
You.
You too.
And to many more collaborations in the future.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.